Okay, hello everybody. I now call the meeting to order. It's our regular meeting of the City Council and successor agency to the Redevelopment Agency and Housing Authority meeting of Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. So we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and first we do the National Anthem. So please stand for the National Anthem. It's going to be led by Jeanette Chavroni of our Community Services Specialist in the Police Department, and then Councilmember Gameros from District 2 is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready to begin.
Oh, no, first we're going to do the National Anthem. It's all good.
Stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting, proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
America, to the republic, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, Jeanette. Great job, great job. And I just don't leave. I just want to tell everybody and get your recognition, because this month Jeanette is retiring after 36 years with the police department. And even though you're retiring, you're still in very good voice, and you're welcome to come back here anytime and sing the National Anthem. Thank you very much for your service. Okay, so now we have a moment of solemn expression led by Pastor Ian Stevenson from Trellis. Pastor Stevenson, you have the floor. Hold on one second. I got to turn on your mic. There you go.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. It's a privilege to get to pray us in tonight. Let's just bow our heads and pause and wait on God for a moment. God, we're so grateful for this city that we live in, this state, this nation. And God, as we think about all that's going on in other parts of the world, we have so much to be thankful for here. We're thankful, God, for our city staff. We're thankful for our council. We're thankful, God, for just all the leaders, all the people who live in our city. And Lord, tonight we just want to pause. We want to invite your presence here even more. And God, we ask that you would help lead this meeting, that God, you would prompt thoughts and ideas. And as things are discussed and decisions are made, God, would you direct us? Would you protect us? Would you continue to provide for us here? We are so grateful. And God, we look forward to what you're going to continue to do in our great city. And we just pray for wisdom for our council. God, we pray that we would set aside any of our own selfish ambitions and just really think about the greater good of our whole community. So God, we have things to celebrate tonight. We have committees that are going to be formed tonight. And God, we just lay all of this before you. We look forward to what you're going to do as we continue to come together. And I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Stevenson. Beautiful. Madam Clerk, would you please do the voice roll call?
Councilmember Harlan.
Here.
Councilmember Chavez.
Here.
Councilmember Harper.
Here.
Councilmember Gamaros.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Mar.
Here.
Mayor Stevens.
Here.
And let the record reflect that Councilmember Reynolds is absent.
She tried, though. She's in Europe, and she really tried to hook up with us by Zoom. But anyway, I hope she's having a wonderful time. So we have 3 presentations tonight. We do presentations at the beginning of the meeting. I'm so glad you all are here for that. The first presentation is Costa Mesa High School cheerleading team, which is a CIF championship team this year, and really you've won pretty much everything there is to win over the years, including the national champion. I was talking to your coach. I was saying, well, when was the last time you were here? I mean, it seems like it's been a while, but maybe that's just because of the pandemic. But you could come here every year for sure with all the success that you had in your program. It's really a source of pride for the whole city of Costa Mesa, and I know it's a lot of hard work. You've got an excellent coach. You've got a real dedicated support system, and we're very happy to have you here. So I'm going to that's what I'm saying just off the cuff. Now I've got a speech here or a script. Today we are proud to recognize the Costa Mesa High School cheerleading team for becoming a 3-time back-to-back champions at the CIF Southern Section Cheerleading Championships as competitors in the largest CIF division. Our very own Costa Mesa High School Mustangs are leading by example through commitment and an impressive effort. We commend you on a job well done. So thank you very much. Okay, now I'm going to call your coach, Corey Johnson, up. She can take one of the microphones. I want her to individually recognize you and say a few words about the team. And then what we'll do after that, we have a certificate. The council's going to come down. We're going to take this big group picture. Tony will try to get as far away as he can so we all get in the picture. Coach Johnson, you have the floor.
I would just like to thank Mayor Stevens and the rest of City Council for recognizing this team. We also, since inviting us here, we also have won CIF State also. So
Right.
That's an amazing accomplishment as well for these young ladies. So we thank you, and we appreciate you recognizing all of our wins throughout the years, and hopefully we'll continue to bring back CF championships to the city. So with that, I will
All right.
the team. Okay, so do you guys want to come up and I'll give you your certificates? Do you want to pass that one on?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. This might be ours. Aaliyah's not here. Hold on. Alex Sanchez. Angelina Diaz. Anthony Carrion. Ariana Diaz. Clarice Encarnacion. I probably messed that up. Dulce Ayala. Emiko Grun. Emily Suge. Emma Montez. Faith Casino. Grace Vasili. Haley Boudreau. Haley Salmeron. Jade Martinez. Joanna Sosa. Kennedy Steck, Kira Johnson, Lola Bro, Mila Lee, Rachel Domingo, and Tony Green. We have a few girls that are doing college visits, so they couldn't make it, so they're out of state
All right.
also right now, a couple seniors.
Okay.
So here's our 21, 22 now CIF championship team. Maybe you boys would.
The boys they go in the center. Anthony and Alex.
Like, look, lined themselves up.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to go completely off script because my script says that you're the CIF champion, but I know that this Sage Hill team is state champion, right? State champions. And ladies, I'm not sure, you probably know this because you're a student of local sports history like I am, but do you realize that I don't believe that there's been a girls basketball team in Newport Beach or Costa Mesa that has ever won the state championship at any level. And there's been no team in Newport Beach or Costa Mesa that's won any state basketball championship since Estancia won in 1991. The Estancia boys team won. You're also the only team from the great county of Orange that won this year the state championship. You're an extraordinary team with extraordinary coaches. And you also have 2 Costa Mesa residents on your team. Kat Righeimer, who's the daughter of the former mayor. Jim, it's good to see you. It's wonderful to have you here. And Zoe Lampkin. What's that? I know. Anyway, it's always good to see you. And so we're really proud of our Costa Mesa residents. And I've read all about you. So I know that Kat made the winning shot to get into the finals, into the state finals. And then I know in the final game you were behind the whole game, and you came back and eventually won by 4 points that game. I think it was 51-47. Do I have that right? Okay. So you are an extraordinary team, and also we know that you've also not only overcome obstacles on the court but also off the court. You suffered the tragic loss of friends and coaches. And I think when they talk about resilience on the court and off the court, that's you, your team. We can learn a lot from you. Anyway, let's call your coach up. Coach Kerwin Walters, would you please take the stand, talk about your team, introduce each one of those girls, and then we'll take a beautiful photo. I'm really glad you're all here. Honored, in fact, that you're here.
All right, first of all, thank you, Mayor Stevens and the rest of the City Council members for inviting us here today. This has been a whirlwind and a very fun time for us, and I can't be more proud of the group that we have. Our girls are, as you say, resilient. They play the game the right way, they do things the right way, and it shows in our ability to win games and ability to be a family together. We all do what we can to make sure the overall goal is accomplished, and I think they are extremely focused and dedicated to being great teammates, good students, great family members, and just overall good kids. So we really appreciate you guys recognizing our young team and our school for this amazing accomplishments. Thank you so much. I do have to say, before I bring out the girls, I have to have our assistant coaches come out, Coach Maya Wilson and Coach Kat Nguyen, for being so supportive in what we do. And obviously our administration, Megan Sid, our AD, and our head of school, Patricia Murs, who's always helped us get to where we have to get to. So thank you so much, and we'll start this. Yeah, so you there we go. Sorry. Emily Eady. Still getting here. Okay, Petra Gap. Megan Sheen. Kiana Husenzadeh. Grace Bori. Sorry. Kat Righeimer. Zoe Lampkin. Danya El Khadib. Annabelle Spots. Isabel Gomez. Sarah Alzadeh. And then we have 3 other players who are not here, but are still very valuable to our team. And again, thank you so much for this.
Coach, would you like to accept the proclamation?
I will put it in the middle.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
Okay. So our next presentation is a proclamation to observe and recognize Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And every year the city observes Sexual Assault Awareness Month. This year's annual theme is Building Safe Online Spaces Together, a nationwide effort to prevent online sexual abuse, harassment, and exploitation. We invite the public to reflect on this year's theme as we work together to build a safer online world. So I'm going to read a little bit from the proclamation, and then we're going to have Lita Mercado, Chief Program Officer of Waymakers, come up and accept the, and I just, Ms. Mercado, I just want you to be prepared to say a few words about Waymakers and how the city and Waymakers work together. Okay, so I'll read this, and then you can come up and say a few words about Waymakers, and then we'll take our photo. Okay? All right, great. So here's some excerpts of the proclamation. Each year during Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we recommit to ending the outrage of sexual assault and educate people about how to enhance community safety. Sexual Assault Awareness Month is a time to draw attention to the prevalence of sexual assault and educate people about how to enhance community safety. Sexual assault occurs in all communities and online. Increasing virtual connections can result in online abuse and harassment. The trauma of online abuse is devastating for many survivors. And then it goes on and it says, now therefore I, John Stevens, Mayor of the City of Costa Mesa, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2022 as Sexual Awareness Month in the City of Costa Mesa. I join advocates and communities across the country in preventing online abuse. Together, we can make a difference to build inclusive, safe, and respectful online spaces. Now, Ms. Guerrero, I'm going to invite you to the witness stand over here, and you can give your testimony about Waymakers, what a great organization it is. I recently went with some other mayors to your breakfast. Was that in January? Was that in January?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I remember that it was in Huntington Beach, and that's when all the ships were out there, the cargo ships? Mm-hmm. Anyway, enough about supply chain.
Those were the items I ordered on Amazon waiting for me out there.
Yeah. So Ms. Mercado, you have the floor.
Thank you. Well, I do want to start by extending my deepest gratitude to the entire city council and to the mayor and to the chief for doing this annually. It's critically important to all of our community. I do want to say thanks for the invitation to do so, that Waymakers is a large nonprofit here in Orange County. And we have been providing sexual assault victim services since the early 1980s. And so we serve as the city's rape crisis centers, and we run a 24-hour hotline for any victims of any type of sexual assault, or those who want to support those who are surviving sexual assault can reach out to us and speak to a crisis counselor free of charge and completely anonymous. We work hand in hand with the City of Costa Mesa. The City of Costa Mesa Police Department calls our sexual assault program anytime there is a victim heading to the hospital to get a forensic exam. They call our team so that we can come out as partners in a multidisciplinary setting to support the survivors, the family members, answer questions, and that has been going on since the 1980s. Also, the City of Costa Mesa has worked with us in our human trafficking task force supporting survivors of sex trafficking since 2010. So the City of Costa Mesa has worked with Waymakers for many years, and I am a proud Costa Mesa resident, actually. So I live here just around the corner, and it is such a pleasure for me individually, specifically, to know that our city wants to honor the proclamation of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I have a young daughter who goes to school here in Costa Mesa, and that's important to me. And it was such a pleasure to see all of these amazing women come up before me, these champions here of the city, and to know that you all have taken the time to do this. So I did prepare, a little words that we Waymakers are honored to accept this proclamation from the city of Costa Mesa. And it gives me great pride as a resident to know that this amazing city understands the value of speaking out against sexual violence. If we can't talk about it, we can't change it. And so sometimes we come across some challenges not wanting to bring an issue like this to a city council meeting or to other meetings, and that really prevents us to create a space to really honor each other and let survivors and perpetrators know that everyone in the city takes this seriously, that we support survivors, we want to hold folks accountable. Together we can create a community safe from sexual violence and a culture that supports survivors when they speak out. And we are sincerely grateful that you all are honoring Sexual Assault Awareness Month this year and all the past years and future years to come. So thank you very much, Mayor. Okay, wonderful. We don't want a whole team of people like...
I know.
And I'm not taller than anybody, so it'll work out. Sorry, guys.
All right, that's all the ups and downs we're going to do for now. We're dug in, council, dug in till the end. Okay, but we're so grateful to have a presentation now by one of our great committees, the Bikeway and Walkability Committee, and Chair Cynthia McDonald, who's definitely my friend and a friend of the council. And Ms. McDonald and the committee provide such valuable insight and feedback to the council and have for so many years. And so I appreciate everything that you've done. And on my way here, I noticed something. Raja, I noticed that, so I come here and I go down Bristol, and you know those bollards that we have on Merrimack? Yes. They're now on Bristol, south of Randolph, right? Beautiful. And those must have just been put in, right? Today. All right. So see? So it's an exciting time for this topic in Costa Mesa, and we're very pleased to have you. And Ms. McDonald, you have the floor.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mayor Stevens and City Council members. I am Cynthia McDonald, the chair of the Bikeway and Walkability Committee, and tonight I will present the committee's annual report. Next slide, please. The committee was formed back in 2015. The names of our current members are in the green box. In addition, our council liaisons are Jeff Harlan and Arliss Reynolds. The Chamber of Commerce liaison is Brent Stoll, and the school district liaison is Dr. Bauermeister. Next slide, please. The committee currently has 9 subcommittees. They are Active Transportation Plan Implementation, Government Regulatory and Grants, Safe Routes Accessibility, Economic Growth, Public Outreach, Mobility Share, Open Streets, Presentation, and our Walk Audit subcommittees. Next, thank you. The goals of the ATP are to promote a friendly, active transportation system in Costa Mesa, create a safer place to walk and bike, integrate active transportation elements into the circulation system and land use planning, promote an active transportation culture, promote the positive air quality, health, and economic benefits of active transportation, and monitor, evaluate, and pursue funding for implementation of the Active Transportation Master Plan. And the City Council's goals and objectives include advance environmental sustainability and climate resiliency, present the Pedestrian Master Plan to the City Council for direction, and present a plan to reduce collisions and injuries on roadways, including providing 3 to 5 options for City Council direction. Next slide, please. So what do we do? Well, despite COVID, we've been really active. We commenced work on the Pedestrian Master Plan. Committee members, along with staff and members of the public, assisted with performing walk audits, and we provided comments to the initial draft document. That final document will integrate portions of the Berkeley Safe Trek Complete Street Safety Assessment and the Kimley-Horn Local Road Safety Plan. The final PMP will be incorporated into the city's general plan. A list of projects that are recommended by the Pedestrian Master Plan will be prioritized by the committee and staff. Next slide, please. We also tracked legislation and recommended your support. We recommended priority active transportation projects to the council and provided input to staff on new AT projects. We also reviewed easement and right-of-way vacations. Next slide. We continue to work with staff on the installation of bike racks, and we anticipate seeing documents for the implementation of a commercial bike rack program. Now that COVID is subsiding, we have resumed working on an open streets event and annual bike and walk events. Next slide. We also reviewed our city ordinances regarding the use of bicycles and recommended an update so we can achieve goals in the ATP, allow for a mobility share, and eliminate ordinances that inhibit equity. And it has been the pleasure to welcome Brett Atencio-Thomas as our first AT coordinator. He's really great to work with. And I want you to note that next month is Bike Month, so get out and ride your bike, please. Next slide. We participated in the Complete Street Safety Assessment, which is available on the city's website. Some of the suggestions for improvement include adopt a data-driven systemic approach to safety countermeasures and/or formal commitment to Vision Zero. Establish a dedicated funding source for PED and bike projects. Update our safe routes to schools. Develop a micromobility policy. Expand the city's practices to include proactive traffic calming measures and more. The report also includes site-specific recommendations for safety improvements. In addition, we participated in the local road safety plan, which is currently under review by staff. Next slide. Walk to School Day was split into 2 days so that 13 schools could participate. This is the largest participation we've ever had. Next slide. We did outreach at the concert in the park that had a temporary cycle track and the 2-day Team SoCal Cross event. Next slide. These are projects that have been completed or under construction. Merrimack has been open for 7 months, and we enjoy those buffered bike lanes, the fabulous green bollards, and pedestrian safety improvements. Likewise with Fairview Road, which was improved between Baker and Adams with a new signalized crosswalk with a refuge island, striped bike lanes, some of which are new and some of which are wider, and the green conflict zone markings. Next slide. There are new bike facilities throughout the city. Baker, El Camino, and Country Club are complete, and it sounds like Bristol Street is now complete because we have those nice green bollards. Randolph Street is still under construction, but includes traffic calming and pedestrian improvements. Next slide. In addition, these are projects that are in design phase. We have 3 projects on Adams Avenue, the Lions Park Hawk Signal, a new pedestrian signal at West 19th and Wallace, and West 19th Street bicycle improvements that include new Class 2 and 3 bike lanes, high visibility markings, sharrows, pedestrian crossings. And Placentia Avenue will get Class 2 and Class 4 bike facilities from Adams Avenue all the way down to the southern terminus, which will be a great connection for us. Next slide. So in the future, the committee will be working with the consultant on the PMP. We'll be recommending implementation of projects from the ATP for the upcoming budget, performing more walk audits, planning events, and requesting funding from you for more PED and bike infrastructure as recommended in the Active Transportation Plan, Pedestrian Master Plan, CSSA, and the Local Road Safety Plan. And we'll be recommending an update of city ordinances and supportive legislation. Next slide. So where do we face challenges? Well, there are a lot more bikes, scooters and e-bikes on the roads, and while this has made our mode shift better, we still need to achieve our goals of 10% bike use and 20% walking. We need to change our ordinances to accommodate micro-mobility share. And COVID really changed our lives in many ways. We couldn't go to the gym, so many people bought bikes and started walking. And with more outdoor activity, we saw crash rates going up. The government stats for 2020 and 2021 haven't been released. But here are 2 interesting stats. The Governor's Highway Safety Association projects that 2020 had the largest ever annual increase in the rate at which drivers struck and killed people on foot. In 2019, an estimated 49,000 bicyclists were injured, a 5.4 increase from 2018, according to the NHSA. In 2017, the average age of a cyclist killed was 47. That was up from the previous year where it was 41. And I don't know where you were in your life at the age of 47, but I had one son that was barely an adult, another son who was still a teenager, way too early to lose a parent. So, there are a lot of reasons, factors to crashes. Leading causes are noncompliance with traffic laws, both motorists and non-motorists. Things like failure to yield, fail to stop at stop signs or signals, speeding, the leading cause of traffic deaths. Poorly designed facilities are also a problem. No signal, no signage, lack of a nearby crosswalk, no separated bike lanes, poor lighting, and then, of course, impairment and distraction. So what do we do about that? Next slide, please. We need to meet the goals of our plans by adding more bike and pedestrian infrastructure. We need to address residents' expectations of safety by lowering stress of all levels of cyclists, providing bike facilities that are appropriate for all ages, abilities, and bike types, improve sidewalks and crossings for pedestrians, including those with impairments. Next slide, please. The budget for active transportation needs to increase and align with the greater need for active transportation projects, including new projects in the Pedestrian Master Plan. Over the past 5 years, the committee calculates that annual appropriations for AT projects have averaged 8% of the total capital appropriations, or 1.5 mil annually, versus 46% for vehicles in the form of streets, transportation projects, or 8.5 mil. The committee will make project recommendations to the City Council for next year's budget to improve bike and pedestrian infrastructure, including the recommendation to reallocate more transportation funds to active transportation projects. Next, please. The committee recommends that you prioritize cyclist and pedestrian safety and improve connectivity on CIP projects, increase spending on AT projects, provide funding to work on the update of ordinances to accommodate mobility share, achieve that silver level bike-friendly community status, and eliminate ordinances that encourage inequity. We want to promote awareness of increased use of AT facilities through signage, the Costa Mesa Minute, and social media. And we ask that you supply funds for promotional material to increase residents' awareness of the committee and safety education. So I thank you for your time. This concludes the presentation. I'm happy to take your questions.
Thank you very much. Let's hear it for the chair, Chair McDonald. Yeah, Council, do you have any questions of Chair McDonald? And if so, ask for the mic there in the queue, going once, going twice. You're off the hook.
Oh,
all right, great job.
Thank
great
you.
job. Thank you again. Okay, that's our last presentation. So now we're on to the public comments. So for public comments, you can do them in person or on Zoom. We take the people that are in the chambers first. So as you're coming up, if you could line up kind of equal amount on one side or the other. And then everybody gets 3 minutes as a maximum to do public comments. If you get to the end of 3 minutes, the mic shuts off, right? Madam Clerk, the mic shuts off. So you get a 1 minute warning. So start to wrap things up at 1 minute, so because you don't want to be silenced when the mic goes off. And in public comments, you can only talk about things that are not on the agenda. If there's something on the agenda, then you have to wait for it to come up on the agenda, then you get 3 minutes at that time. So with that, we have a number of people in the chambers that want to address us in public comments, and that's good. Let's start with Ms. Martin.
Thank you. I walked over here from my house, and I actually watched a driver run a red light on Vanguard onto eastbound Fair. Not a pretty picture. Anyway, 16 months have passed since Noel Baskin was run over while riding his bike at the intersection of Arlington and Junipero. Since then, the city has installed warning signs, "Stop ahead." The stop signs are bordered with flashing lights. Rumble bumps are on the pavement to warn the driver of the upcoming stop. That's good, but not enough, in my humble opinion. I sat at that intersection today for 1 hour between 2:18 and 3:18 in the afternoon, and I observed 348 drivers pass through. 237 of them, or 68%, came to a stop. 110, or 32%, California rolled or drove right on through. This intersection was one of 8 case studies included in Kimley Horn's local road safety plan. Only one of the study's 5 potential countermeasures for this particular intersection is in place: the flashing stop signs. The study estimates that the 20-year safety benefit for 5 countermeasures, 5, amount to about $1 million. And the total 20-year actual cost to the city would be about $100,000. Staff has told me, and I quote, Mesa Del Mar multimodal access will begin with a public hearing later this year. To review potential options. Arlington and Junipero is included. So many pedestrians from T. Winkle Park, kids on skateboards, pedestrians and cyclists on the Arlington Trail use that intersection. Please Ask Public Works to follow through on Kimley Horn's suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Lees, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, my name is Wendy Lees. First of all, I want to commend Cynthia McDonald and the Bikeway and Walkability Committee for their excellent work. As a resident for 50 years this year, I think that the progress that they've made is just amazing, and I like the idea of all the subcommittees. The other thing I want to thank the City Council for is your the resolution on the proclamation on the Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I teach at a hospital, and many of the young people that are my students have been assaulted. So it's a team effort, a village effort that we really do need to make everyone aware that sexual assault is not acceptable. To that point, I hope that you will spend a little bit of effort in.
Wendy, hold on a second. Let's pause her time. There's something going on technically. There's some feedback, and I want you to make sure that the people can hear you.
All right.
So let's get that squared away. And is everything good with the feedback?
All right, sorry. Okay, all right, I beg your pardon. But that massage parlors, that the hours of operation of massage parlors would be a priority. That we have a lot of massage parlors, so just to make sure that there's no sex trafficking going on there or prostitution, I would ask that the police department and that investigation department focus on that. Also, Ms. McDonald mentioned speeding. I think we have a lot of speeders. I was walking down Whittier the other day, and somebody was over the limit, even with the light right in front of Whittier School. So speeding is a problem. But the reason I'm really here, though, I just wanted to commend you for those two issues, is I want to invite you to go and visit Camp Lila. And Camp Lila, we are the City of the Arts, and a resident who happens to be the daughter-in-law of a longtime resident friend of mine created Camp Lila, and it's a wonderful haven for young people to little guys for art, music, and yoga. Well, there's a controversy about Camp Lila because it seems to have fallen in an area of Costa Mesa by Wells Place and Orange near 17th that was designed as the green zone for cannabis clinics. And so the city has put a lot of pressure on my friend who has tried to cooperate, and recently code went out there and the police went out, an attorney, to really not be friendly to a local business owner. So when you go out there, I want you to take a little tour, take you 15 minutes, talk to Katie, but think about the benefits of this program for little guys who suffered through COVID. They're developing and being inspired with art, music, and yoga for the rest of their lives. It's kind of a healing program for them after COVID. And how does that weigh in our city, not any other city, against the benefits of many more cannabis clinics that might go in there because of the way you defined the area and in the legal terms, because she's not necessarily a daycare, or she's not a karate studio, but I want you to think in the bigger picture of what means more to Costa Mesa. I understand there's like 65 applications or so for cannabis dispensaries, but one little place for little guys. And we're going to have plenty of places to buy cannabis, but how many little havens with a little playhouse and art? You need to go over there, because it's a big deal if we side with the cannabis people instead of the little guys. Thank you.
Sir, you have the floor. Hold on. Podium mic on.
Good evening, Council. I wanted to talk exclusively about bicycles in the BWC committee, but I'm actually going to start with something a little tangential first. Earlier, there was a proclamation read on sexual harassment and sexual assault awareness. These are issues that are really near and dear to my heart. I have a lot of friends who are impacted by these issues. I have seen this in college and other places. But I just want to bring to the attention of the council the specific line that says, increasing virtual connection can result in online abuse and harassment, which seems like a statement out of 1992, honestly. Increasing virtual connection can bring connection and joy in a lot of people's life. And I think to make that statement unqualified is actually does a shame to the proclamation, to be honest. So I'd really ask that we be more thoughtful in the way we talk about online spaces, because if you're under the age of 25, you understand them a lot more and understand that one of my good friends says, Mark, you are the best in-person friend I have, but I have 3 of my best friends that are online, and that they only knows these people from online, and that they're important to them. And so I just wanted to take 1 minute of my time to talk about that. Regarding biking, regarding BWC, first I wanted to really support the BWC budget ask. You know, many of us over the past, time that I've been coming to council meetings have really talked about the importance of biking, walkability for our communities, for our economic resilience of our cities. And so I'm just asking that, our budgets are the reflection of our priorities. And I've heard so many people speak verbally that biking is a priority, and I'd like to see that reflected in our budget as well. I also want to support the BWC name change, which I believe the name change is the Active Transportation Committee. I'm willing to be corrected that that's in this. This is going to be going forward at this meeting, but I just wanted to support that as well. It's a lot more clear in terms of like what we call this type of stuff. I also wanted to mention, that we can be really thinking bigger about biking and walking. I sent most of you some information on state legislation. I actually talked about this at a few council meetings before. I just want to make sure that that email came through to you all. That has a bunch of state legislation that I have a privilege to work on during my daytime job to support in Sacramento that would make biking and walking better. And I also want us to start thinking about intersections in different streets and how we really can think bigger in that sense. The Adams project that went forward, out of a score out of 100, a scoring system out of 100 from the state, only got a 57, which means they didn't get any state money according to the Active Transportation Grant Program, because we weren't being ambitious with the Adams project. And so I really want us to be thinking about intersections and being ambitious in these ways. And that's all I have to say on this matter. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ma'am, you have the floor.
My name is Wendy Samo, and I live at 140 Cabrillo Street, right up the road from Camp Lilla. So whenever you go to Camp Lilla, if it's 5 a.m., you can stop by the gym at the straight across from 140 Cabrillo. The name of the gym is the 12 Gym. It operates under a condition use permit approved in the 1990s for a different operator. There are no conditions in the CUP specifically pertaining to noise, okay? So at 5 a.m. every day, this gym is doom, 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 doom. So I've called the cops, I've called code enforcement, and then nothing really happened. They upgraded after I called the city council, and now we can actually hear them vocally outside, woo, 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 whatever they're yelling. So on last Thursday, there was a gentleman from by Orange that walked all the way down at about 5:30 in the morning, stood in front of the gym and was like, why are we still hearing this? I moved in January 2020, and this has been going on ever since. Every morning, 5 a.m., never stops. I've talked with code enforcement, and he said that there's nothing really he can do because there's no, ordinance. And I'm just asking that this gym have the same ordinance as every other gym in Costa Mesa, where no noise is allowed outside of the gym, especially at 5 a.m. in the morning, please. And I also wanted to add that sometimes they'll open the side door so we can completely hear everything without any filtration or anything. And that's it. Just if you could fix the gym, please.
Thank you. Ma'am, you have the floor.
Good evening, council and staff. My name's Jen Tanaka. I'm a board member of the Costa Mesa Alliance for Better Streets. Me and my colleagues sent you a letter earlier today endorsing the BWC's recommendations regarding active transportation and their budgetary requests. And so I won't take my time to reiterate what we wrote in that letter, but we hope that you consider that when you make your budgetary decisions. What I wanted to take my time today to do is to emphasize the importance of the transportation part of active transportation. One thing I'd like to challenge you to do is to go out and observe how the people of Costa Mesa are using your streets when they're not in a car, especially in areas that are outside a residential area. When you go and see that someone's biking on the sidewalk, I think you can feel pretty good that that person's not there for pleasure, that they're probably there to get from A to B, especially if they have a rack or a basket, which is extremely common. And when you see someone walking on Harbor Boulevard, for example, on a sidewalk, I usually assume the same, that they're not there for pleasure because it's not a very pleasant place to walk. And so many people in the middle of the day, if you go and you look around, if you look in the back of shops, for example, you'll see many, many bikes chained up, not in the front, but in the back, where people who work at our stores, would park because they, are using a bicycle to get to their place of business. And so in other words, many people who use active transportation are using it as just that, as transportation, as something mundane, not as a recreational activity. And in this environment, look, walking and biking is great. It's great for your health. It's great to enjoy our beautiful city. But in this environment, let's be frank, the best thing about walking and biking is that they are free, or at least radically cheaper than owning or operating a car. And right now, people need that alternative. Prices are going up everywhere, especially gas prices. And everyone knows that they could save a little money if they just could replace short trips by walking or biking. But they can't do that because they don't feel safe or they feel very alone in a sea of cars. And this is where a comprehensive active transportation network would come in. These improvements say, we see you. We see you, that hardworking dad who's bicycling to his second job to save money. We see you students who are trying to get themselves to school while mom and dad finish up shifts. And we see young people who are scrimping and saving to either buy a car or just pay the rent. So every dime spent on active transportation is an excellent investment, and I wholly support the Bikeway and Walkability Committee's recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Hendricks, are you ready? Do you need some setup time? Yes. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Stevens and City Council members. My name is Kim Hendricks, and I first would like to talk about the second Saturday of the month restoration in Fairview Park. It is a big hit. Last month, Dean Tompkins, owner of Thunder King Coffee Company in Costa Mesa, came out and brought us some beautiful hats for all the volunteers. So if you would like a hat, come on over to Fairview Park.
We're going to pause your time, and because there's something that's not going right with your slides. Just, Madam Clerk, just let us know when they're going to be able to move. We can see it on our desktops. Okay. Are we ready?
And where do I click this? At this? Oh, this. Oh, so I still have to say next to you? Oh, okay, thank you.
It works.
Okay, so did you know?
So anyway, we gave you back 15 seconds, so you could start from the top.
Okay, so Costa Mesa local business owner Dean Tompkins came out. Thank you, Daniel Baum, who volunteers all the time, for bringing them. And he brought us these hats, and he said that all you need to do to get one is just volunteer. We're out there the second Saturday of each month with the City of Costa Mesa from 9 to 11 a.m. This is from 2019, from email to city staff. Fairview Park is located on a mesa top that supports one of the last coastal vernal pool complexes in California. The value of the habitat in the park cannot be overstated. Here are some photographs of the vernal pools on the west side as well as on the east side. We have endangered fairy shrimp, plants, button celery, Navarretia. Here's some Riverside and San Diego endangered shrimp that the migrating birds love to eat. And we also happen to be on the Pacific Fly Route, so hundreds of migrating birds would stop here once it's fully restored. The western burrowing owl was here, but he has left. He is a migratory bird that spends its winters in Fairview Park. The city also was told that regular disturbances decrease the overall biological integrity of the park by favoring species that are more resilient and attracted to urban environments such as crows, rats, mice, opossums, skunks. Species that are more sensitive to disturbances are likely to leave, reducing species diversity. We have a nesting pair of California gnatcatchers. There's a juvenile waiting for mom. We also have barn owls for rodent control. We also have a northern harrier. We have also robber fly, which is really important, the insects, because this is a voracious little guy. He loves to eat lots of insects, so it does help balance the insect population. We also have the western pygmy blue butterfly, which happens to be the smallest butterfly in North America, one of our greatest pollinators. You can see how tiny it is. And we also have the sweat bee, which is also another great pollinator. And Costa Mesa is home to biodiversity in Fairview Nature Park. It is unlike any other park around in Costa Mesa or north of San Diego. Incredible opportunities for local schools and the whole community to enjoy. We'd love to have a nursery on the east side, and we'd love to start gathering seeds like the Bolsa Chica Land Trust does in Bolsa Chica, purple needlegrass, vernal barley, meadow barley. We'd like to get the local schools out with gathering the seeds, cultivating, and replanting. Fairview Park is unlike any other, and we'd like to take care of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Great slides. Sir, you have the floor.
Hello, Chris Cormier. I don't know if you guys remember me. I'm the guy with the Rekindle Fire. After speaking here last time, City Attorney Miss Barlow contacted me and had to give her a call. I gave her a call. She called me back. I figured out that wasn't going nowhere. It was when she told me that the fire department was at my house till 2:45 in the morning. I was like, wow, 2:45 in the morning. I left my fire at 11 o'clock that night. All fire trucks were gone. So I contacted the Newport Beach Fire Department to find out, hey, well, you're on the Costa Mesa's fire report says you guys were at my house till 2:45. They said, no, not true. I got the fire report back from the City of Newport Beach. They were there till 10:15. The actual fire report from Costa Mesa actually said that they were there till 12:02. So Ms. Barlow, you misread that. It was actually 12:02 and 45 seconds, not 2:45 in the morning. So, you know, all the mistakes that have been in just the fire report itself, the second fire report states that my second fire started in my kitchen. Only thing that didn't burn, my kitchen in the second fire. The only thing that survived my fire is the kitchen. With many of these blunders here, I mean, what other blunder happened? You know, I don't think that the fire was put out properly. I know you're here. I'm no disrespect, but I got friends that are firemen, and every single one of my friends that are firemen says that this was a major blunder. That they didn't do their job properly. I know you guys aren't allowed to talk to me about this. I have some pictures here. You guys can see this. I live 1 mile from a fire department. 1 mile. Dan tells me that all these guys are professionals. A professional arsonist couldn't have done a better job. When you look at these pictures, you'll understand. This fire burnt 90% of everything I own. It displaced my wife, myself, my granddaughter, and my daughter. The bed that she was supposed to sleep in that night burnt. And we sat in those beds, decided whether or not we're going to drive to our cabin that night. Good thing I said, you know what, let's just drive to the cabin tonight. I want to wake up in the mountains for Thanksgiving morning, or we would have been dead. You know, I'm updating you guys this because I'm filing my case. I want you guys to be very clear of what's happened here. And, you know, if you reject my claim, let's go. We'll go to court. I've got plenty of witnesses. I've got it all. You know, Mrs. Barlow actually said, oh, maybe the palm trees that were reported that same day, maybe those lit my backyard on fire. Pfft, come on, man. The palm trees did not light my house on fire. My fire was never put out properly.
All right, thanks. So we don't have anybody else who is here in the chambers to speak, but what about on Zoom?
Yes, Daniel Baum, please.
Mr. Baum, you have the floor.
Hello, my name is Daniel, and I'm on the lead team of Labors of Love. Labors of Love is brought to you by Love Costa Mesa Neighboring Initiative. We're a group of volunteers that identify neighbors that can use our help, such as the elderly, disabled, widowed, and single parents. We then support them with a manual labor project. We had our first Labors of Love event this past Saturday, April 2nd, with lunch sponsored and provided by everybody's favorite Little Pickle sandwiches. We helped a very deserving elderly neighbor on the west side Costa Mesa by helping her with landscaping in her front and backyard. We would like to invite and encourage the community to come volunteer with us in our upcoming events. If you're interested in volunteering or financially sponsoring a project, contact Raina Cuthill at raina@wearetrellis.com. That's Raina, R-E-I-N-A, at wearetrellis.com for more information. Secondary, I would also like to invite everyone out to to Fairview Park Alliance picking of non-native plants this Saturday, which is, I believe, the 9th. And every second Saturday of every month, we are there removing non-native plants to help beautify everyone's favorite park in Costa Mesa, which is, of course, Fairview Park. Thank you very much for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you, sir.
No further speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, then we'll close public comment and we'll go to the council member committee reports, comments, and suggestions. This is a time for the council members to speak. They get about 4 minutes and they can speak on any items that they've come across and do committee reports and things like that. First up is Councilmember Harper from District 1. Okay, no comments from Councilmember Harper. And then we were going to go to Councilmember Reynolds from District 5, but she's in Europe. And so Councilmember Manuel Chavez from District 4, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor Stevens, and thank you, members of the audience, for being with us today. First of all, let's congratulate our youth for winning 2 amazing awards this past month. You know, CMH High School won cheer again, and Sage Hill for winning the statewide basketball tournament. So I'll move quickly on my comments today. First of all, huge thanks to all city staff and residents that were there last Saturday at the Shalimar Street cleanup. It was a great time. We had Parks and Rec playing music. We had code enforcement, our fire department, our police department. Everyone was out there cleaning up the neighborhood and really engaging residents about what they want to see happen in their part of town. I will say this, I'm looking very intently at Shalimar cul-de-sac. We know it's a place that could use a bit of improvements, and we're looking to see residents to see what's the best course of action to take. I see a lot of potential in that street. You know, a lot of times we mention cul-de-sacs as being a place to build community, and that's what the potential is there in Shalimar, and I look forward to working with city staff and the community to get something there that they feel proud of. Second of all, I want to congratulate Brenda Emmerich from our Costa Mesa Fire Department. This last Thursday, Supervisor Foley in the County of Orange held an event honoring women for National Women's History Month, and she received an award for the fire department service. Very happy to be part of that service, working with Supervisor Foley, and very happy for Brent Emmerich, who runs our CERT program here in Costa Mesa. Second of all, I also want to thank our police department for providing me and the council 2-year police appreciation breakfast. I was there alongside Mayor Pro Tem Mar, Mayor Stevens, and Councilmember Gameros. Very beautiful ceremony. It's nice to see the good work our police department does for Costa Mesa residents. And one thing to note that's really important is how diverse our police department really is. You know, they reflect the community very well. And I think the reason why we have one of the best departments in Orange County is because when I see a department, I see people that reflect our community's demographics, and also I see folks that I went to high school with, and I know went to local high schools serving in our department. And that's what makes this a great, great team to have here in Costa Mesa. And finally, I want to end with a free eye doctor clinic happening at the Costa Mesa Senior Center on April 9th. It's going to be from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. So anyone that may be of lower income or may not be able to afford going to an oculist can go to the Senior Center, first come, first serve, and get a free eye exam. I know we have a lot of seniors live across the street from the Senior Center, so hopefully they can attend if they need to. And with that, that's all my time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Great job. So next up is from District 2, Councilmember Lauren Gameros.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I too had an opportunity to attend the police appreciation banquet today, and something I've learned in the past about year and a half is that when you live in a city for a very long time, until you really get to know the staff, the fire department, the police department, you really don't have an understanding of what it is that they do. And I kind of look at this as you're kind of like living in Oz, and you finally get to see after a while what's going on behind the curtain. And today was one of those opportunities that I really got to see what our police department family is all about. I learned that they really do put their lives on the line for us. We had some acknowledgement that was given out to some officers, and to be honest with you, I was taken aback at what the accomplishments were that they've done as far as undercover services, going out and really putting their lives on the line. I make mention before that we sit behind, a desk here and make heavy-handed decisions. They got to do it on the fly. They got to run with, a gun in their hand, a fire hose in their hand, whatever it is, and make these decisions that they do their best to make a positive outcome on us. So in saying all this, I just want to say that I truly appreciate what our fire department does, what our police department does, and engaging with them regularly really helps to improve our community so that we can understand what their needs are and so that they can understand what our needs are, because that's really important. So I want to just thank the police and fire for everything that they do, and I yield my time. Thank you.
All right. Great job. Thank you very much. Now from the east side of Costa Mesa, District 6, Councilmember Jeffrey Harlan. No comments tonight. Okay. Now we're moving on to District 3, our Mayor Pro Tem, Andrea Mar.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. And because the mayor took like a couple of days of vacation, I got to be the mayor stand-in for a couple of meetings last week, which is always fun, including the 5th District Supervisor, Lisa Bartlett. She's our supervisor for this kind of weird interim year while they redistrict, but she held a breakfast at the Norma Herzog Community Center. So it's like the 3rd time I've been there in 2 weeks, which is kind of great. But it was really interesting to hear what all the South Orange County mayors are working on right now, and what their priorities are. I think, it's always interesting being involved in the League of Cities and ACCOC and trying to network regionally. We're all doing the same stuff, right? Active transportation is something that's coming up in more and more cities. Many of the things that we deal with here in Costa Mesa, we're not completely unique, and we can learn from our neighbors. So it's always a good opportunity to talk to others about what they're doing. I also attended the South Orange County Transportation Authority Multimodal Stakeholders meeting. Yeah, that's a mouthful, but I'll be honest, it's a little bit odd that we're in the South region as far as OCTA is concerned. And I didn't come away from it. This was their long-range planning exercise where they wanted to get input from different electeds about what we thought the future was going to look like in terms of active transportation, in terms of bus, rapid bus, who's doing trolley programs and all of that other kind of stuff. And I came away feeling a little bit disappointed, frankly, that there wasn't any meat on the bones. It was all just like a pie in the sky discussion about what the future might look like in 25 years. And I think that we've learned enough. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. McDonald, about the Bikeway and Walkability Committee. I think we've learned enough to have a good sense of what direction we're heading in. The fact that people are commuting by different kinds of transportation. I was joking with the city manager that the OCTA only takes away bus shelters because they say there's not enough ridership. By that standard, how do we ever add bus shelters, right? What's the logic that says somebody needs to be there? It's this chicken and the egg problem where it's easier to keep removing services over and over again, but it's not so easy to add services because you can never point to a number and say there's demand here. And so, I'm really proud of the work that so many of you are doing to push us on this issue, to push the county on this issue, and we need to keep doing it. It's really important right now. As OCTA starts planning for what the next 10 and 25 years looks like, we've got to be pretty aggressive and pretty ambitious to say, this is what we think the future can be. And we've learned our lessons in Costa Mesa, and we know what works, and we know what we want to continue doing. So I appreciate all of the activism and advocacy on this. I think, please help me. I think the city manager and I are going to go have a more in-depth conversation with OCTA to at least express a little bit more of Costa Mesa's point of view. But this, again, to get my first point, this is a regional issue, and we can't do it all as a city alone. We've got to do it in partnerships with the other cities and with OCTA. And then last but not least, totally selfish, but I'm trying to remove the turf in front of my house and work through the Mesa Water Program and put in California natives. And if anyone's been through that process, I'd love to hear your feedback and how it went and any recommendations. Thank you.
All right, great. So I just have a few comments. I did, as some of the other council members said, go to the police awards recognition breakfast today. It was really quite a thing. I mean, as Councilmember Gamera said, to listen to the accomplishments of the police officers and just the extraordinary risks that they take, and also the difference that they make in our community in so many subtle ways too. I mean, in addition to the big busts that we see on social media and the awards, they're out there all the time. I mean, I think it was there's been over 1,000, and Chief did this last time when he made his report in 2021, over 1,000 DUI arrests, and one of the groups that were recognized today was that DUI team, and one of the officers had over 200 DUI arrests. So they do really extraordinary work to keep us safe and have a safe and peaceful community. The other thing too is there have been some retired firefighters and a retired police officer who have died recently, and I've just noticed how it really is a family. We hear the chiefs talk about the family, but it really is a family, and it's exemplified and illustrated by how they come together when one of their own, even after decades of retirement, passes away. So I was at the memorial service for Gerald Porch, who was Costa Mesa resident and the father of Debbie Kronfeld, father-in-law of Tim Kronfeld, who are friends of mine, and Chief Stefano spoke beautifully at the ceremony, and it was quite something. And then Barry Adams, who is a retired captain of the fire department, he died as well, and the many firefighters and the honor guard were there for that. And then just recently, retired Costa Mesa Police Department Sergeant Larry Bursch died, and it's a very, very touching memories that were put on Facebook for all of those that served. So may they all rest in peace. And there's also, it's a lot, and we're going to adjourn the meeting for them. And there's another very important member of the community who died recently, and some of you may know her, Barbara Van Holt. And I just want to read a little bit about her because was an extraordinary teacher at Estancia High School. She began her career in 1963, the year of my birth, as one of the first staff members of Corona Del Mar High School. In 1967, she was recruited to Estancia High School, where she taught advanced English and drama for more than 30 years in our community. Her drama program went on to become one of the most awarded programs in Southern California. In 1996, she was awarded a day in her honor by the city of Costa Mesa, and at her retirement in 1999, the Estancia Auditorium was renamed the Barbara Van Holt Theater. So she will be missed, and we will also acknowledge her and at the end of the meeting and adjourn in her remembrance and honor. All I have to say after that is, it's the season. It's for many of you, it's Easter, so I hope you have a happy Easter. And for many others, it's Passover, so I hope you have a blessed Passover. And that's all I have to say. And now I'm going to call on Ms. Farrell Harrison for the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, council, and all of our lovely residents that are in attendance this evening in person and via Zoom. I had a few updates for you all. First, I just wanted to again thank our police department for putting together a very nice recognition awards program and ceremony this morning. That was quite the delight. I hadn't had the opportunity as a city manager to participate in that event in 2019. I think it happened before I arrived, and so this was my first one, and it was spectacular. So thank you for taking the time to acknowledge all of our incredible officers and the work that they do, but also the civilians in the police department, because they're an integral part of the work, and they help to get all of the work done. And so thank you for that, Chief Lawrence. I also wanted to thank Supervisor Foley for recognizing our very own Brenda Emmerich, and to thank Chief Stefano for being at that event as well. Brenda won the category in public safety. She was the only woman in all of Orange County to receive an award in that category, and the only Costa Mesa employee to receive an award. So that was a super special moment. Very happy to celebrate that with her. And Chief, thank you for those great remarks that you made, and also helping to bring her husband up onto the stage to acknowledge her excellence as well. So very happy about that. So we have a special surprise for you. This year we'll have our first Earth Day Festival on April 22nd. We're super excited. It's our first one, so be patient with us as we roll this out as an annual tradition. We will be having it on Friday, April 22nd from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It will be celebrating sustainability and being green. We'll have an electric bus on display, as well as some of our other city-owned electric vehicles. As you know, we're trying to green our fleet, become more sustainable. We will do tree planting, and we'll have vendors there from Orange Coast College's Recycling Center and Recovery Kitchen, Tesla, IKEA, and the water and sanitary districts, among others. City staff will provide demonstrations of our green business program, solar powered generators and other equipment, community gardens, water quality initiatives, and active transportation projects. There'll be a picnic area with food trucks and tables, a yoga area, kids activities like games, gifts, and a composting demo, art displays and documentaries, and many more. I'm really looking forward to this exciting event. Thank you to Raja Satharaman and our sustainability manager, Salem Afawarki, for putting this event together and working with our other city departments on this. And so please join us on Friday, April 22nd, Earth Day, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Consistent with tonight's declaration and proclamation of Sexual Assault Awareness Month, I just wanted to remind everybody that National Denim Day is on Wednesday, April 27th. Denim Day is the longest running sexual violence prevention and education campaign in history, and it's actually global. It was started after a court in Italy implied that a rape victim deserved what happened to her because she was wearing jeans, tight denim jeans. So to combat this misperception, community members, elected officials, businesses, and students are asked to make a statement by wearing denim jeans as a visible means of protest against misconceptions that surround sexual violence. So please help be a part of the solution and join us in wearing denim on Wednesday, April 27th. And last but not least, apply to be a firefighter. Costa Mesa Fire and Rescue Spring 2022 recruitment for the firefighter and firefighter paramedics categories. Applications will be accepted April 8th, which is Friday, and will close on April 11th. And so a short window there. Please put applications in. Costa Mesa Fire and Rescue is seeking the best of the best, and we are excited to have new firefighters join our talented team of professionals. Please visit our website for more information. Again, firefighter and firefighter paramedic applications will be accepted this Friday, April 8th through April 11th. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now let's hear from our city attorney, Ms. Barlow.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I would like to say that it was really exciting to see the girls here receiving acknowledgement for their athletic accomplishments. I think that was wonderful to have them. I have a couple of requests of the council for adjournments tonight. One of them, and I'll say this quickly because otherwise it will be hard. My father died on March the 22nd, and just be nice if you could adjourn in his memory, just because, for me. And then in addition, the day before that, sadly, former Assistant City Attorney Harold W. Potter Jr., my colleague since 1996, passed away rather suddenly after a short fight with cancer. For those of you who never met Harold, he was a double amputee. He had some challenging medical issues through his life, but he never stopped smiling. He had a huge, booming laugh. He was a big man, 6'4", I don't know how many hundreds of pounds. We were very much opposites in almost every way, except that we loved each other fiercely, and he treated me like a little sister, and I felt in many ways like he was an extra big brother that I caught professionally. Harold was a BOTA certified, which means he tried so many cases that he was actually elected to the board of the American Board of Trial Advocates. It's a huge honor and not easy to obtain. He got his Bachelor of Arts degree from Point Loma Nazarene University, where a scholarship will be established in his memory. And he met his beautiful wife, Patricia Young Potter, who is a workers' compensation lawyer and just one of the sweetest people you've ever met in your life. Harold got his Juris Doctor degree from Western State University and began practicing law in December of 1985. For a time, he worked in the Long Beach City Attorney's Office, and then for State Farm, and then luckily somehow he came to Jones Mayor in 1996. So I had the pleasure of working with him for 26 years. We tried a couple cases together, and you probably couldn't have seen any more stark difference between two lawyers in your life than if you had watched us through those trials. On breaks, Harold would take a nap in the corner of the break room, just close his eyes, and I would be frantically taking notes and making notes and writing things and preparing for the next witness. He was a really, really beautiful man, and I had the good luck to not only work with him all those years, but to visit him a few days before he died Certainly not expecting that because we thought we'd have him with us for quite a while longer. And he shared with me something that I think we all wish we could say right before we die, which is that I'm ready. I'm at peace with my God and my life. He actually did something really quickly. His wife asked about something that needed to be done physically outside, and it required a chainsaw. So he took her to Home Depot. They bought a chainsaw. And he's at that point, he's in a wheelchair. And with the prosthetics, it's probably hard to, I don't know. Anyway, she said, "You can't wield a chainsaw in a wheelchair." And he said, "No, I'm not going to. You're going to." And he made her learn how to use the chainsaw the week before he died. So wonderful, wonderful man. He was a wonderful assistant city attorney for the city of Costa Mesa. He tried and won many cases for Costa Mesa. And he will be greatly missed by everyone in my law firm. And I apologize for the long talk, but if you could adjourn the meeting in his memory as well tonight, I'd appreciate it.
You got it. Okay. So now we're going to go on to the consent calendar. And the matters on the consent calendar to be considered routine, and they will be acted upon in one motion unless members of the public or members of the council or the staff pull an item for consideration. And so, Madam Clerk, has anyone pulled any of our consent calendar items?
Yes, a member of the public has pulled number 5.
Number 5. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion on the balance, please.
Move the balance.
Second.
Okay, so motion by Councilmember Chavez and second by Mayor Pro Tem Mar. Okay?
Okay, we can use the voting machines because Councilmember Reynolds is not participating remotely.
We can use the voting machines. Okay, so that's still okay. We'll just, is it okay to, Councilmember Chavez made the motion, Mayor Pro Tem Mar seconded. So we'll call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Wonderful. Now, so a member of the public pulled consent calendar item number 5 pertaining to the, so I'll just let you read it, Madam Clerk.
Yes, this is the Orange County Register of Voters ballot drop box license agreement. And Mark, please.
Okay, we'll open it up to public comments. You have the floor. Hold on. I gotcha. There you go.
Thank you, Council. I'll be brief. I just wanted to take this opportunity to just appreciate that the OC Registrar of Voters now has a drop box on the east side, but I also wanted to reiterate some public comments I made now about 7 or 8 months ago during the California special election that was held in statewide for the governor's race, the governor's recall, excuse me. And just using this opportunity to really remind the city of the incredibly long lines that were that existed mostly on the west side for people to vote during that election, which was a statewide election. And really, prior to us getting to this point, just encouraging us to have alternate locations, longer hours, and also considering the library as a location. When I was working that election, I was at the library as like our little home base, and there was tons of people with their ballots being like, "Oh, just figured I'd be at the library." It's the kind of the heart of the city. It makes a lot of sense. I'm not saying that's necessarily the right answer, but I just think like we need a little bit more communication. We needed some leadership on this point. Because, it was definitely really troubling for me, talking to people about their first time voting and saying, "Oh, it's just at the senior center and it's an hour and 25-minute wait." Wow. That's really challenging and really difficult. And so I just wanted to take this moment to make that point and be heard. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. So did anybody want to comment on the Zoom? No?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Close public comment, Mayor Pro Tem Mar.
I think that's a great idea. City Clerk, is that something we can recommend to the registrar? Something at a ballot drop off at the library or Norma Herzog?
We can request that. We're kind of doing, we requested after the last election that this box, and so we're in negotiations with the county, and then they agreed to put this drop box on at the Boys and Girls Club. We can pursue more with them. It would not be for this year, it would be for future elections. This is they're trying to get this in motion by the primary.
All right, sounds great. I'll entertain a motion then on this consent calendar. So Mayor Pro Tem Mars making the motion.
I'll move to approve the item.
Motion to approve. And then that's second by Councilmember Gameros. Let's call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, excellent. So now we only have one public hearing item tonight. Madam Clerk, would you please read the title?
This is a resolution of the city's intent to overrule the Orange County Airport Land Use Commission's inconsistency determination for the City of Costa Mesa's 2021-2029 sixth cycle housing element update.
Okay. And so who's doing the presentation? Scott? Okay. You have the floor, sir.
Good evening, Mayor Stevens and Mayor Pro Tem Mar. Scott Drapkin, Assistant Director of Development Services. Tonight, I have a brief presentation with 10 slides and regarding the Airport Land Use Commission review of the city's housing element. Recent presentation will consist of the review of the Commission's review of the city's housing element, review of the ALUC purpose, and review of the overrule process for the Airport Land Use Commission. So in February of this year, as you know, the city's housing element was adopted by the council, and with all specific plan and zoning code and general plan updates, the Airport Land Use Commission has a review authority per the Public Utilities Commission for anything that influences their planning areas. The ALUC is an advisory agency, and the final land use determinations rest with the city. And the Costa Mesa's Airport Land Use Planning Influence Area is located near the 405 and the 55 freeway interchange. So that's where their review was focused. The ALUC has reviewed several housing elements recently for some adjacent cities and has determined that they were inconsistent, as well as they determined the city of Costa Mesa's housing element was also inconsistent. I think this is probably based on the recent countywide RENA allocation in these high numbers, and the city's more or less scrambling to try to find these housing sites. On March 17th, the ALUC again reviewed the city's housing element and found it to be consistent with the land use plan. However, the city can overrule the ALUC housing determination of inconsistency, and basically that's what's tonight's before you. Again, Newport Beach and Irvine, they were reviewed for inconsistency determination for their housing element, and they're also going through this process, so we're not alone. So this map shows basically the airport land use planning area. This is the area that they're mostly concerned with. This is an area where the city did have some housing element sites that the Airport Land Use Commission found some consistency issues with. It's located in the northeast corner of the city and generally just east of the South Coast Plaza area. Again, the ALUC determined inconsistency with 9 out of the 99 housing sites that the housing element provided. These sites were located in the North Costa Mesa specific plan area. The only issue that the Airport Land Use Commission was concerned with was related to height. However, the housing element doesn't change building height or nor contemplate any building height change in its policies. So staff's not sure how appropriate their review was, but nevertheless, they've done this for the city's housing element and also several other housing elements for other cities. ALUC expressed no other issues for the housing element than those 9 sites. And so the first 3 of the sites that the Airport Land Use Commission had concerns with were located at 589 Anton Boulevard and 545 Anton Boulevard. Their concern was that the height allowed in these areas, which was an existing height standard that's been approved by the North Costa Mesa Specific Plan area, penetrated the FAA imaginary surface height, which is at 206 foot above sea level. In this area, the building height is allowed to be up to 180 feet. And what the ALUC determined with these 3 sites were that based on the topography of this area, that these would penetrate that 206-foot FAA imaginary surface area by about 3 to 5 feet. So staff was a little concerned with this small amount of a height penetration that the ALUC, or the Airport Land Use Commission, was suggesting might occur. And we did a little bit more digging in, and it turned out that the Airport Land Use Commission staff was using Google Map topo data for their determination of height, which clearly is not accurate to 3 to 5 feet. So when staff was presenting to the commission, we suggested that this might not be as big an issue as they believe it to be. The next 4 sites are located at 3400 Bristol Street, 3410 Bristol Street, 3420 Bristol Street, and 685 Sunflower Avenue. Again, the ALUC looked at these sites and determined an inconsistency based on height. In this area, the North Costa Mesa Specific Plan was approved in 2007 to allow for up to a 315-foot height. And actually at that time, in 2007, the Airport Land Use Commission reviewed the North Costa Mesa Specific Plan update and found it to be inconsistent, and the city at that time overruled the ALUC determination. And the ALUC determination findings were based on that the FAA also reviewed the analysis, which the FAA preempts the Airport Land Use Commission, and they determined that the height was not a safety issue. So the last 2 sites were located at 3201 Park Center Drive and 601 Anton Boulevard. This is a similar situation as the previous 4 sites that I just discussed in regard to the FAA determining that these sites at 315 feet height were not an issue. One of the other requirements that the FAA required during that time was that anything over approximately 170 feet would require further FAA review on an individual construction basis. So there really was some belt and suspender approaches to reviewing these North Costa Mesa Specific Plan height allowances of 315 feet, and staff and the city actually went through this airport safety issue quite extensively at that time. So the ALUC process to overrule consists of basically 2 hearings. The first hearing is for the city council to consider and forward the findings to the ALUC, which are required by the Public Utilities Commission for the city to make, and give the Airport Land Use Commission 30 days to respond to those findings that the city makes, and then after 45 days, review the Airport Land Use Commission comments and review for the overrule, actual. So it's a 2-step process. And this takes us to our recommendation. And again, tonight, the recommendation is just to adopt a resolution with regards to intent and forward the findings to the Airport Land Use Commission, and then direct city staff to forward the resolution, obviously, and after 45 days, if the ALUC comes back with comments, bring them to the council, and for the council to consider their review and make a determination for the overrule. So this concludes staff's review, and staff is available to answer questions.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Mar, you have the floor.
So I'm reading the first paragraph of the staff report. When a jurisdiction proposes an amendment of a general plan or a specific plan or the adoption or approval, so there's a lot of ors. So if we come back after the housing element has been approved, certified, and we want to propose a specific plan, a developer comes back with a general plan amendment, there's some other document that's going to guide how any of those individual parcels are developed, we're going to go back through this process, correct?
Correct. If so, the housing element projects that there's going to be some modifications to certain specific plans, if not all of them,
Right.
for that matter. Those will all have to go back in front of ALUC.
Got it. Okay. So, and looking at the map, my guess is that most of those sites are probably going to go back to ALUC.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you.
Do any other council members have any questions of Mr. Drapkin or any of the other staff members? Oh, Councilmember Harper?
Yeah, Mayor Pro Tem Mar's comment, I want to make sure I understand it. She's saying that even if we go and challenge it now, we're going to have to challenge it later as well. It just doesn't matter. So, Mr. Dapkin, can you tell us why we would challenge it now and not just wait? Is that fair? Go ahead, you can correct me anytime, Andrea. It's okay.
Mr. Mayor, I think I can answer that question.
Sure.
The position that the ALUC has taken is that by adopting the housing element over this determination, we are out of compliance, and that we cannot issue any permits without their approval at all, regardless of what happens in the future. That's their position. Sorry?
You can go ahead and push your button. You can, if we want to go in discussion, that's fine.
For these 9 sites, correct?
So
If we don't challenge
We're
it.
overruling them for the sake of getting our housing element
Right.
through. But then realistically, when a plan comes back for one of those locations, it'll probably go through this exact same process all over again. So at that point, we can make the decision again. Are we overruling them or are we complying?
Right, again.
So it's just, this almost feels like it's fairly cursory for the sake of getting a housing element certified.
In essence, and it also prevents us from having to get their approval for every permit between now and whenever those future changes get made.
Right, but if we challenge it, they just ignore it or they overrule it.
No, we have the right to overrule them.
We have the right to overrule them.
Statutory right, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm slow.
No problem. I might just add a little bit to the city attorney's comments. The Airport Land Use Commission is an advisory agency, and the city council has the ultimate discretion with land use. So basically, they can advise almost in the same capacity that the planning commission can advise to the city council. So
I see.
Right.
They have that type of a role.
And the ALUC is composed, I know there are some council members from other jurisdictions. Is that what it's all council members from other jurisdictions? Is that right?
I didn't get the feeling when I was presenting in front of the commission that they were all council members, but one of them certainly was involved with some of the city practices in Seal Beach. So, but none of the other ones gave me that indication. It's possible that they are, though.
Okay. Mr. Dapkin, you this last letter, correspondence from Lee Chaum, have you met with him?
It's Leah, and I have met with her. We've met with them on several occasions. In fact, we've been meeting with them for about the last 4 or 5 months fairly regularly to discuss our options and figure out this process and really go over a lot of the concerns that we had with their recommendations to the commission, and then also some of the inaccuracies of their analysis, especially as regards to using Google for topo, where we're talking 3 to 5 feet. It just doesn't work.
So they've acknowledged that maybe they made, I don't want to say mistake, but I'm going to say.
Yeah, during the hearing when I presented to the commission, one of the commissioners mentioned that, city staff was probably right in regards to this, but they're still going to find an inconsistency determination, just to warn us.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from council members? Otherwise, since it's a public hearing, we'll open it up to the public. Okay, open it up to public hearing. Does anybody in the chambers wish to speak to this item? I see no movement whatsoever, so I'm going to say no. And so what about on Zoom?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, there you have it. That was your public hearing. Close the public comments. I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve the item.
Move to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Mar, seconded by Chavez. Call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. One thing that I didn't mention at the beginning, and you may all know this, but new business item number 2, we're not going to do that tonight. So we've got one more item, new business item number 1. Did everybody know that? I heard, is that right, City Manager? New business?
That's right.
Yeah, new business item number 2. So I'm really sorry if you've been waiting for new business item number 2. Really sorry, but we're not going to do it.
Mr. Mayor, can I just interject quickly, because I think I forgot to report out that we had no reportable action in closed session this evening.
Okay. Thank you for doing that. Okay, so now we're at our last item of business, new business item number 1. Will you please read the title, Madam Clerk?
Thank you. We need to. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight is appointments to the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission and various city committees. We do have a PowerPoint, but it's listing what the appointments are as we go through and do it. So it'd probably be appropriate, if we have any questions, I'd be happy to answer any questions, take public comment, and then we could go by each committee and do your appointments.
Right. And so so as I understand it, what we're gonna do is like we've done in the past, if you're the liaison or if it's your district, then you basically nominate a slate. And then at that point in time, we vote on that slate. And
Yes.
and if other council members, wish to do substitute motions, they can do that at that time, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think we could just open it up to a public hearing then, right?
To public comment, yes.
Yeah, let's open it up to public comment. Does anybody want to speak to new business item number 1? So just for the record, it's Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission, Animal Services Committee. We're going to do Bikeway and Walkability Committee, Cultural Arts Committee, Fairview Park Steering Committee, Finance and Pension Advisory Committee, Historical Preservation Committee, and Housing and Public Services Grant Committee, and Mobile Home Park and Advisory Committee. Okay. Ms. Lees, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. On number 5, since Councilwoman Reynolds is not here, I would respectfully ask that you continue that item. I am president of the Fairview Park Alliance, and we often work closely with the Fairview Park Steering Committee and respect their appointments and their service to the city. And I just think in all fairness that Councilwoman Reynolds should look at the applicants, and I believe there could be a conflict of interest with one applicant who is part of the Harbor Soaring Society, and that is not, just like Hank Castanetti represents the train as a liaison. We don't want to break with tradition and appoint somebody who is actually a member of another program that uses Fairview Park. I would also like to respectfully ask to be reappointed to the FIPAC because I have some wisdom from experience, and what I've noticed in the last year, and especially during COVID, that there's been a turnover on FIPAC, and it is a stiff learning curve to understand the budget and the process as we give you advice on how to spend the revenue that comes into the city. Also, I have applied for the Mobile Home Park Advisory Committee to be the citizen at large. I've given just my input to the many mobile home residents, kind of when, I think it was Anchor or Snug Harbor, one of them, closed, and it was when I was on the council, and just the difficulty that mobile home residents had in figuring out what to do when the park was sold. And I've built relationships with many mobile home residents, and I'd like to continue in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Mr. Fuchsovich, you have the floor.
Good evening, Council. I wanted to just be brief, and I want to talk about two things. So one is I want to just support all of the existing BWC applicants who are already existing on the BWC committee to be reappointed. But I also really believe in killing two birds with one stone. So I wanted to really advocate for someone on the finance committee, but also thoroughly embarrass them. So I wanted to thoroughly embarrass Jen Tanaka, who's sitting in the back corner there. She's on the board of the Costa Mesa Alliance for Better Streets. And I think she's incredibly qualified for being on this position. Jen is a lawyer and has been a lawyer for some time. She's lived in Costa Mesa now for 4 years after coming here from New York City. I'm doing this from memory, so we're gonna see what I get right here. Jen graduated from University of Chicago with a master's in international security, and got her JD from the University of Michigan. And while at the University of Chicago, she was the president of the Federalist Society. She is thoughtful and precise, smart and caring. When we talk about walking and biking in Costa Mesa, she thinks about kids and families, she thinks about schools, but she also thinks about how this could be good for businesses, and wants to bring the Chamber of Commerce involved into our work. I think she'd be a great person to have on a committee like the Finance Committee, which needs people like Jen to really be thoughtful and really thinking about the city and its budget in a good and intentional way. So it is a privilege and an honor to be on the board of CMABS with her, and I hope she's thoroughly embarrassed, and I hope that you all appoint her intelligence, and her care to the Finance Committee. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anybody else wishing to speak from the chambers. Is anybody on Zoom that wishes to speak?
Yes, Kim Hendricks, please.
Ms. Hendricks, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mayor and City Council members. I agree with Ms. Leese. I think Councilwoman Arliss Reynolds should be present since she handles District 5. And I think she should review and appoint a committee member to the Fairview Park Steering Committee, since she has so much knowledge of the history as well as the present about it. I object to one of the applicants being appointed. I object to Mr. Matthew Garcia's appointment to the Fairview Park Steering Committee because I think he has a conflict of interest since he is the president of the Harbor Soaring Society. That information he did not include on his application. Part of the Fairview Park Steering Committee job is to carry out Measure AA and to advise the city about that. So this is definitely a conflict of interest since Measure AA's primary purpose is to protect and restore Fairview Park Okay, it relies on the Fairview Park Master Plan, and flying motorized planes was never part of the Fairview Park Master Plan or Measure AA. Measure AA's victory still speaks loud and clear for the community of wanting to protect Fairview Park and have events that help, not hurt, the resources in Fairview Park. And lately, there have been some decisions that events that have been allowed that could hurt Fairview Park instead of help. Like an egg hunt on the east side, I heard is planned for Easter. This really is a violation of Measure AA, and I hope that this will be changed. But going back, Mr. Garcia's interests as president of HRSS are in definite conflict with the protection of Fairview Park and Measure AA, and therefore I object to him being appointed to the Fairview Park Steering Committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else on Zoom that wishes to speak to the council?
No further speakers.
Okay, let's close the public comment then.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Can I ask that, based on what we've heard tonight and also at the request of Councilmember Reynolds, that we move the Fairview Park Steering Committee appointment to the next meeting as advised by the clerk? So when we go to make final motions, that we include that, please.
Okay, why don't we do it this way? Well, we can do that now if you want. I guess it's we've closed public comment. Do you want to make that a motion and then I'll second it? We'll do a call for the question on continuing Fairview Park Steering Committee to the next meeting.
City Clerk, are you good with that?
Yes. All right. I'm not sure we need a motion. I think we can just move it.
Why don't we do a motion? Let's do a motion.
Okay. Right.
So moved.
So second.
Here, you can go ahead and
So seconded.
do it on the screen, on the voting, yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, we got, now, I was going to second it, but Councilmember Camaro's seconded it. Okay, let's call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, so Fairview, the number 5, Fairview Park Steering Committee will be moved to the next meeting where Councilmember Reynolds will be here. Okay, so then let's start at 1 and just kind of move on down.
All right. Can you go to the next screen? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. This is one appointment to the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission. It's for District 3, which is Mayor Pro Tem Mar's appointment. We had 3 applicants, Diane Beach, Brian Buckner, and Michelle Murphy, and they all reside in District 3.
Okay, it's your pick,
Let's see.
Mayor Pro Tem Mar.
Thank you. I'd like to appoint Michelle Murphy.
Okay.
Can you do a motion?
I move to appoint Michelle Murphy to the Parks, Arts, and Community Services Commission.
I'll second.
Okay, can you do it on the buttons?
Oh, that's sorry. It's like, you want me to spell it out? Okay, thank you.
Second. Okay, let's call for the question.
Councilmember Chavez, please. Yeah, there you go. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, then next up is Animal Services Committee, and it's Councilmember Camaro's pick.
Let's see. Let me read the names into the record, please. First, you have 4 regular members whose terms expire April 2024, and 2 alternate members with a term expiration at April 2024. And you had 6 applicants: Christina Polos, Brian Buckner, Lisa Harker, Angela Maneras, Sharon Elder, and Jennifer Tanaka.
Councilmember Camaros, here we're on discussion mode. You've got the floor.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to accept all 6 with Brian Buckner and with Brian Buckner and Jennifer Tanaka being the alternates.
Okay. I second it. Call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, next up is Bikeway and Walkability Committee, and it's Councilmember Harlan's pick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I wanted to take a moment to thank the Bikeability and Walkability Committee for the presentation tonight. Obviously, a lot of hard work has gone into that. Thank you especially to Cynthia McDonald for your your service and your dedication, your leadership of this committee. I've learned a lot over the last year. In fact, I spent last week touring colleges with my daughter in the Midwest and Oregon, and while she was focusing on what prospective college kids focus on, I'm looking at all the bike infrastructure and snapping photos. So I'm going to be sharing that with the committee shortly. Secondly, I wanted to thank all the 14 people who applied for this committee. Obviously, it's a popular one, and most importantly, it's an active one. And I think that is it's accurate to reflect that in the new name of Active Transportation Committee. So I would like to...
Hold on one second. So do you need to read all the names?
I probably should. So we have 6 regular members and 2 alternate members to be appointed. And we had 14 applicants: Ralph DeBoda, Cynthia McDonald, Richard Huffman, Flo Martin, Brian Buckner, Jimmy Vivar, Bridget Gleason, Matthew Petralia, Andrew Barnes, Altaf Wahid, Hangama Abraham, Jennifer Vavra, Benjamin Leckler, and Colin Patterson. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Now.
So I'd like to move for the regular members, Ralph DeBoda, Flo Martin, Jimmy Vivar, Bridget Gleason, Andrew Barnes, and Jennifer Vavra. And as alternates, Richard Huffman and Benjamin Leckler.
Okay, can you push your motion button, please?
I can.
Okay, and then a second.
I second it.
Okay.
Call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, so now we're at the Cultural Arts Committee, and that is Councilmember Gameros. So, Madam Clerk, could you please read into the record what you need to read into the record, and then we'll get his picks.
This is for 4 regular members' appointments with terms ending 2024 and 1 regular member appointment term ending 2023. We had 6 applicants: Rocky Evans, Charlene Ashendorf, Brian Buckner, Justin Fong, Nadine Breslow, and Hangama Abraham.
Thank you. I would like to make a motion to accept Rocky Evans, Charlene Ashendorf as the chair. Brian Buckner's term will end in 2023. Justin Fong and Nadine Breslow.
Okay, motion made, seconded by Chavez. Let's call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
So Fairview Park Steering Committee has been moved. And then, so I'm up with FIPAC. Please read into the record what needs to be read into the record, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. This appointment to the Finance and Pension Advisory Committee is for 4 regular members whose terms expire April 2024 and 1 member whose term expires 2023. We had 10 applicants: Randolph Benjamin Reynolds, Felice Sharoma, Wendy Lease, Gary Craig, Altaf Wahid, Sharon Elder, Hangama Abraham, Colin Patterson, John Duffy, and Jennifer Tanaka.
So before I say my motion of whom I'm nominating, just thank you to everybody who applied. I read everybody's application and resume very closely, and we had some really excellent applications, and but I have to only pick 5, unfortunately. Keep your eyes peeled, because sometimes on this committee there are people that don't attend and they resign and things like that. So it could be in the near future we could be reappointing. So if I don't pick you, just keep applying, because there's some good people that I'm not going to include in my motion. But I'm going to include some really good people in my motion. Felice Sharoma, Wendy Lease, Gary Craig, Altaf Wahid, and Jennifer Tanaka. That's my motion.
Which person did you want for the 1-year term?
For the 1-year term? Oh. let's have Wendy be the 1-year term.
Thank you. If you can push your motion button, please.
Okay, motion. Okay, motion by me, obviously, seconded by Harlan. Call for the question.
Councilmember Chavez, please.
My apologies again.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, so then next is Historical Preservation Committee, and that is Councilmember Chavez. So, Madam Clerk, please read into the record.
Thank you. This is appointment for 4 regular members, terms expiration April 2024, and 2 alternate members. Let me see what we have here. We had 5 applicants: Gary Parkin, Sean McGinnis, John McQueen, Lisa Harker, and Brian Buckner.
Thank you, City Clerk. I'd like to nominate for the 4 regular members, Gary Parkin, Sean McGinnis, John McQueen, and Lisa Harker. And for the alternate, Brian Buckner.
Thank you. A second.
Oh, a second is Councilmember Gameros. Let's call for the question.
Okay. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, next is Housing and Public Services Grants Committee. Then Councilmember Chavez, you're still up on that one. Madam Clerk, please read into the record.
Thank you. This is for 4 regular members and 1 alternate member. We had 12 applicants: Jenny Walker, Thomas Tom, Randolph Reynolds, Kevin Liu, Brian Buckner, Valerie Hawes, Michael Tu, Christian Sotelo, Nadine Breslow, Lisa Buchanan, Jennifer Favra, and Colin Patterson.
Thank you, City Clerk. I'd like to nominate for the 4 regular members, Virginia Walker, Michael Tu, Christian Sotelo, Lisa Buchanan, and then make the alternate Jennifer Favra.
Okay, motion by Councilmember Chavez, seconded by Councilmember Gameros. Let's call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. So I'm next on Mobile Home Park Advisory Committee. Please read into the record.
Thank you. This is for two mobile home resident owners, 1 park owner or their representative, and 1 independent citizen at large. We had 4 applicants: 1 Wendy Lease, Leslie Cheney, Tony Dowher, and Vicky Talley as the representative for park owners.
All right. So, does Leslie and Tony, do they qualify as the residents? I should know that.
Yes.
Leslie does. What about Tony?
Let me see.
Leslie, Tony. Yeah, it looks like, because it says his address says looks like space number 14.
Yes,
Okay.
he served on it.
And he served on it, right? Okay, wonderful. That makes it easy. So then the at-large would be Wendy, Leslie and Tony would be the resident owners, and Vicky Talley would be the park owner representative. That's my motion. Second by Mayor Pro Tem Mar. Let's call for the question.
Councilmember, Mayor Stevens.
Oh, did I not vote?
Thank you. Motion carries 6-0.
Okay. We're done, right?
Yes.
Well, good work, council. Good work. Thank you very much.
I have one question.
Congratulations to everybody who just got appointed and everybody who applied. Thank you for your interest in the community. Thank you for all the hard work these committees do. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One quick question for the city clerk. For the two committees that are still open, will we still be receiving applications? So for Fairview and for historical?
Yes, we will open a new recruitment. I believe Councilmember Reynolds has requested that we do additional recruitment.
Just want to make sure they're still open. Thank you.
Yes. Oh, and I did want to point out that the Bikeway committee members' appointments, their start date is May 1st. Not, all the others are as of tonight.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Oh, yeah, that was on there.
Something else?
Oh, yes, but part of your motion was to change their name to the Active Transportation Committee.
Oh, it's the Active Transportation Committee?
Do we need to do a separate motion?
I like that much better.
Maybe we do a separate motion on that?
Let's do a separate motion on it because I'm not sure it was included.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion to change the name of the Bikeway and Walkability Committee to the Active Transportation Committee. Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Mar and seconded, what's that?
I saw Jeff doing
I was fighting
Stealing
stuff.
my thunder.
Oh, well, and seconded by Gameros. You got to be quick. It's like Jeopardy.
I'm trying.
Okay, so, and your motion is to,
Rename the Bikeway and Walkability Committee to the Active Transportation Committee.
got it. And second by Gameros. Do we need to have any, do we need to open it up to the public comment? Do we need?
No, we did public comment on
We
it
did public
previously.
comment already? All right, good. All right, let's call for the question.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, good stuff. Well, so it's 8:17. We made really good time today. Thank you for all the hard work, staff and council, and thank you for all the input by the public. Is there anything that any of the council members want to say that they haven't said? Anything you want to get off your chest? You want to say something? No, I want to say goodbye. You want to say goodbye? Okay. You can't say goodbye yet, though.
I have one comment.
Oh, you
I was
do?
promised a unicorn.
What's that?
I was promised a unicorn.
I know. Oh, God. Anyway, that's the, anyway, so we're going to adjourn the meeting. We're going to adjourn the meeting in memory and honor of 5 individuals that were important to the community. Actually, 6. Okay, Barbara Van Holt, who we mentioned before, Barry Adams, a retired fire captain, Harold W. Potter Jr., who is our assistant city attorney and partner of Kim Barlow and a BOTA member, Larry Birch, who's a retired police sergeant, Patrick Banks Hall, who is responsible quite literally for our great city attorney, and also Gerald Porch, who, a while back we adjourned the meeting for him, but that was actually on the evening that he died, so I'm not sure that everybody remembers that, and there were very few people here. It was a long meeting. So he was a battalion chief and a Costa Mesa resident in the Costa Mesa Fire Department. So in honor of those 6 important members of our community in Costa Mesa, may they rest in peace, and we are adjourned.